After all, the series up to this point had yearly releases if you count Scribblenauts Remix. Well, 2013 would lead us to our next game, Scribblenauts Unmasked, a collaboration between Scribblenauts and the DC Universe.
This is basically DLC for Unlimited that they sold for $40 at retail. Yeah.
Alright, look, I don't have too much positive to say about this game. I just don't like it. I don't think it's objectively, horrible, but as someone who bought this at launch and even gave it another shot for this review, it just doesn't feel like that good of a product. Sure, you got the normal Scribblenauts notebook and items you can spawn, only now you can spawn DC Universe characters, items, and adjectives, which is pretty impressive, but I don't know, the feel of the game and the Scribblenauts charm is just missing. It's just not there. Maxwell talks now, which is really off-putting to me. Maxwell is a silent protagonist. I kind of viewed him as a Mario or a Link type of guy, so seeing him talking out of nowhere is just I actually thought about this, and I think in part Maxwell was better when he didn't speak, because he was supposed to be you, the player. He felt kind of like a godlike role in this universe, and this completely just breaks that immersion. Also, what is that smile? Get that away from me!
I think the biggest problem is, sure, the entire DC universe is present, but it's not utilized that well.
And it really couldn't be. Take this situation. Superman is fighting Lex Luthor, classic DC shenanigans, but it's they can't really make this situation unique to the DC universe. Otherwise, people like me and just people who don't care for superhero stuff in general, they wouldn't be able to play it. So dragging Lex Luthor out of the building has us doing the old rope and glue technique. Okay, this is just Scribblenauts 1 stuff with a fresh coat of paint. Superman here needs a melee weapon. Have you ever just seen Superman use a fucking sword?
I looked it up and there's some old comic where Superman does have a sword, but that's not what Superman does. He has laser vision. He has super strength. But yeah, here you're just here's a sword. Why don't we give Mario a gun or Sonic the Hedgehog handcuffs? It's just not the character.
Speaking of comics, Scribblenauts in DC would actually pair up to create a series of comic books, all new adventures based on the smash hit video game. So I'm not a comic critique or anything, but I'll try to go over it the best I can with a casual eye. The comic itself reminds me of a more concentrated Where's Waldo in what I read. What I mean by that is that there is so much to look at in each page. It's really fun. Each panel presents itself with so many characters and so much art. There's a lot of heart and soul put into these drawings. I really dig them. I like how they incorporated elements of Scribblenauts too. When a character expresses an emotion, they get the symbol bubble the same way they would in the game, which is a cute reference to the source material. Some panels even look like straight up Scribblenauts levels. Gotham, being one of the main hub worlds for Unmasked, is pretty much recreated one from one here. Or they just took the files from the game and pasted it. I don't know. Oh my god, this guy's handwriting is impact font. That's the most impressive superpower I've ever seen. So I've been calling him Evil Maxwell throughout this video. He's actually called the Doppelganger, and he's a central antagonist in both the game and the comic book. Here, we're also introduced to Doppel Lily. I love this. She was technically in the Unmasked game, but at the very end of the game or something, but overall, I'm all for expanding the Scribblenauts world and lore a bit. And I'm actually kind of surprised how much the comic focuses on Maxwell. Sometimes there's a lot of panels just for him and Lily, and the superheroes are nowhere to be seen. I still don't really like how Maxwell talks. I guess in a comic book setting, it's a bit more fair, as the aspect of the character being a god in control of his environment is not really as important. But after playing the series for so many years, it's still just something I can't get past. There are 18 books in the series, so I couldn't read them all for this video. Mainly, I just read some samples here and there, but from what I have read, I honestly like them more than the game, and I might check out the whole series at some point. I think they have so much more personality and charm that was straight up missing in the video game. I guess while we're on this topic, there was also some other merchandise for the Scribblenauts series. Nothing too crazy, but there were your standard ones, like a plushie, there was a bobblehead sort of thing, but the funniest thing to me at least is that the Maxwell chicken hat, that was actually a pre-order bonus. Now listen, I don't know who designs this stuff, but who the hell's gonna wear that? You'd be the laughingstock of the town. Chickens would make fun of you. Imagine going down the street wearing the chicken hat, going to a bank, going on a date. You'd be a social pariah. Apparently this guy in the fandom wiki seems to agree, saying that a kid wearing this at his school would probably get a beating before he could walk in. Yeah, you know what? He probably would. Response says that these days someone can be beat up for eating an apple. What? Hey punk! Are you eating an apple? Come here, you little I'm gonna beat you up! Unmasked also introduces an interesting system where reusing words will now reduce the amount of points you can win by solving something, which kind of presents itself as an interesting way to keep things fresh, but it does feel like a band-aid solution. Now, I often find myself entering something like, I don't know, just different variations of guns or knives if I need a weapon, so I feel like it really doesn't solve that much, and it's more so to disguise the fact that the puzzles aren't as creative. Maxwell also has a punch now by pressing B. Did I mention this game lost all of the Scribblenauts charm? I'm just gonna say it again. This really should have just been a $10 add-on for Unlimited. Like, sure, there is an acceptable amount of content, but a lot of it is padded. The mini puzzles do return, but they're like auto-generated now instead of being genuinely thought out and planned, and you can get repeats. It feels a little lazy. They do this so you can unlock certain amounts of points to unlock other environments, so there does need to be a steady supply of them, and some of them do DC type of things, like here, this girl needs Superman. But like, okay, the solution to the puzzle is I just type Superman. What was the point of that? And there's just a lot of fetch quests in comparison to Unlimited. Sure, Unlimited in the other games had a few, but sometimes you spawn a level and there's like 5 people who are like, yep, bring me this. Yup, I always wanted to play a damn Scribblenauts platformer. Yep, take away what makes the game good, right? Well, bust out the old jetpack. Like, this game just falls back on a lot of the faults and repetitive nature of the first game. To make matters worse, Lily sometimes just asks you if you want to go to another world or refresh your current one. And it's like, I'm in the middle of something here. Can you give me a minute? It's like the text boxes in Pac-Man World 2 on GBA. Let me play the damn game. Like, I figured at first this wouldn't happen in the heat of an action at least. But nope, it doesn't matter, because it can happen rain or damn shine. It's like a 5-minute timer or something, and it really destroys the pace of the game. Let me enjoy the world. I haven't even gotten a chance to talk to every NPC, Lily. And I will clarify that I'm honestly not that big of a DC Universe guy. Nothing against it, really. I'm just more of a Marvel person. And the DC Universe has not been executed that well in the modern day and age, so maybe that's kind of skewing it for me. As I said, it's more of a coat of paint than a genuine mechanic. It's a step back for the series. That might be a little harsh, but it feels like Scribblenauts 1 again with DC characters and text boxes. If this was DLC, I really think I'd be praising it, but the fact that this is a standalone game and the last original physical release this franchise has gotten is really sad. To make matters worse, there's only like 12 main star rights to collect in this game. Now that is pathetic. Think back to the first game, which had over 100 levels, and I didn't make it all the way through this game to be honest, but the star rights I did play were barely longer than some of them in Unlimited. So you mainly just do the auto-generated stuff to progress, and this whole game is padding and didn't need to exist.
This is kind of where the Scribblenauts franchise, I don't want to say died.